This episode of Finding Demo Surf Fishing is being brought to you by The Sinker Guy. Head on over to thesinkerguy.com and take a look at everything that Chip's got going on in the Sinker Guy garage. You get your hands on some sinkers, he's got them. It's in his name. Everywhere up 1 to 4 and a little bit more if you need it. You're going to have to reach out to him though on the special stuff. If you need rigs, the Bruno rig, the Mortician rig, he's got them. Great stuff. Maybe you need some sub-assemblies, some other equipment, anything like that. He's got it ready for you. So head on over to thesinkerguy.com. Get your order in today. Yes, new week, new episode coming at you. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. Hopefully you've been doing some fishing. Coming out of that winter rut is always a fun time. We all know winter fishing is rough, especially at the beach. But we're starting to see really cool reports in our Panhandle region here, especially. We've had some really interesting fish coming up. Slot-sized black drum from the beach. We're catching pompano right now. Bluefish have been still coming up here and there. Haven't seen a lot of Spanish, but man, it's about to get good. I'm excited for that. I miss fishing. I really miss fishing. But let's get into the episode here. So we talked last year with this guy we're going to talk to today. I mean, you may have heard of him. He's kind of a big deal. His name is Blane Roberts, also known as Perdido Blane, and he's been doing good stuff, man. When you first heard our last year's episode, it was about 30 minutes long when I was doing a different format, and Blane just crushed it. You know, he came in and shared all the knowledge, didn't even blink, didn't worry about it. He just jumped right in and said, hey, this is how I do it, and talked all about his charter. This time, though, we're going to move it a little bit different. We are going to get an update, obviously, on where it's been from last year to this year, which I definitely want to hear about because he's been lights out, crushing it. And he's been running tournaments now, and it's just so many cool things. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the new format. We're going to find out about his tips, tricks, knowledge, gain some info there, and we're going to talk a lot about his YouTube channel. If you haven't been following that, he's on there. Lots of good stuff he still shares. So yeah, I'm just going to stop flapping my mouth now because that's all I've been doing. So without further ado, Blane, welcome to the show, brother.
Demo, what's up, buddy? It's funny you talking about coming out of the winter rut because I was sitting on my back porch because I turned my irrigation system on for the first time like yesterday, and I was sitting out there in this like pre-spring weather, and my irrigation system came on, and it's loud, dude. I had to run. We would have had background noise, like bad background noise the whole time.
Yeah, it's been a weird winter here this year. I mean, last year's winter was rough. We had several really good cold snaps that hit into we actually hit the teens a few times, and the winter fishing was just not nearly as fun as the year prior. Then we had the summer of doom this year with June grass, followed by sargassum, followed by June grass, followed by everything bad. It was just not a fun one.
Yeah.
Fall turned out fine.
The only thing we were lacking was a hurricane, bro.
Yeah. And I know this is horrible to say, and somebody's going to get aggravated at me, but I know a lot of us anglers were hoping for a hurricane so it would suck away all the stuff and be like, oh, cool, we have clean water.
Yeah, there we go. Let's start over.
Yeah. No reboot for us. But yeah, you're right, man. This winter's been weird. We've got warm water. It's still in the 60s here at the shore, which is we're normally in the 50s right around now. But we're still low 60s. We're in Pompano Reach water. It's been a weird winter.
Definitely a very mild winter. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I throw my little thermometer in the water every time I go out there. It's holding like 63, 64, man. And it's been like that for weeks. Yep. So we never got that just big drop of temp that lasted. So our water temp stayed relatively warm, bro. So it should spike back up relatively soon.
Yeah. Well, we theoretically have another freeze coming. My wife Jen pays a lot of attention to the weather since we've got a lot of plants in her greenhouse and all that in our trees. She's always like, hey, we got another freeze coming. I'm like, man, come on.
Yeah.
Can we be done with this? If you tell me we're going to get a freeze, two things I hate in this area, heavy rain and freezes, because heavy rain messes with the salinity, which messes with the bite, and the freeze changes the temperature and causes the fish to go, nope, I'm out. So yeah, for me, I'm always like those two things never fun when they're hand in hand.
Yeah, man, I might hold off on the weed and feed then. I went and bought some weed feed. I was about to do it.
Yeah.
I might hold off.
Give it 2 more weeks. I think that's what I'm doing anyway. That's my
Yeah.
excuse. Well, let's pick it up where we left off. So you've been crushing things on the guiding, and it's been continuing. So let's catch up from last year, man. What's been going on in the guide world?
Yeah, so the guide, Brian, I went full time with it this March of last year. So right at a year, man. It was not planned. It was kind of forced.
Yeah.
So I was already doing it on the side and putting very little advertising into it and very little marketing. Basically the YouTube channel, I would mention it, and then kind of word of mouth around Perdido. Got furloughed from my career back in March last year, and it kind of put me in that position of, do I scramble on Indeed and try to find another job, or should I go all in with this? And I have a dangerously supportive wife, Demo. You know her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Sometimes I have to talk her out of my ideas, if that even makes sense. I'll pitch her an idea and she's like, "Yeah, baby, let's do it." I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute, let's talk about this."
Yeah.
Just because I said it, don't mean we need to do it. You know what I mean? And just full support from her. And so we went in full blast. Like I said, a year ago this month, I hit August, and then just like you were talking about with the opening, the summer of doom. I could look back at it in my charts right now. The amount of cancellations is crazy because of weather conditions, the grass, all that. Like summer is our biggest month for the guide business, man. That's where all the vacationers are here. And I was just having to cancel trip after trip, a lot of trips being canceled on their end, so I'm kind of glad that happened because it forced me into like getting back into the workforce part-time. I picked up a bartending gig. I did that for years going through school, and I went back I needed to pick something that was flexible, bro. And that, like, if I didn't go to work, it wasn't a big deal. Like, there's no responsibility really, like
Yeah.
I need to work nights, and if I want to call out of work and get somebody to cover my shift, like it's not going to be a big deal. So that's what I did, and really that saved us through the winter because with that slower summer, with the conditions and all the cancellations, then we moved into the colder months where the surf fishing slowed down. The kayak charters still remained. I was able to pull all those off that got booked. There's just not as many of them as the surf fishing. The surf fishing is definitely the highlight of my business. So picked up that little gig, and that kind of pushed us through winter, so I like went full time and then chickened out 6 months later and like, went and picked up another side gig, you know what I mean? But it was a smart move, and I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for all those cancellations. So I'm almost kind of grateful for them, man, because if not, I would have had a really rough winter, like living off credit cards kind of stuff. So it's definitely a growth in the process, and I have like good records now of the guides. So I'm able to look back and see my hot months, see my cold months, just to prepare for next season, man.
I totally get that. And the one I was going to say actually was when you brought up the kayaks, it seemed to be the saving grace, but not everybody's into the kayak game. And our summers, It's like, okay, being on a kayak, you're getting the beat down from above with the heat, the reflection off the water. So you're getting it from two angles, and it's like, oh my gosh, I need to keep moving. I can't keep going slow. I need more air. So it's like a double-edged sword.
It really is. And like I said, now once it cools down, the fall fishing, the winter fishing, that's really all I'm booking is kayak stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I added a few little more raindrops under the umbrella there. I started doing surf fishing lessons and I started doing overnight kayak excursions, like 30 hours on the water, catch, clean, and cook, primitive camping kind of stuff. Um, the surf fishing lessons, I've got a few hits from. Nobody's interested, Brian, in pooping in the hole and burying it with a shovel, bro.
No.
I don't know what's wrong with them, man. I don't know what's wrong. That's fun stuff.
Fun for you and me because we enjoy that stuff.
like, like that's the first question I get. Like when people are like interested, like, so where do you go to the bathroom? I'm like, in a hole. We'll just bury it. Oh, okay, yeah. We'll do the surf fishing.
I mean, I can give you a 5-gallon bucket with a pool noodle if you want.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got my my annual trip planned in like 2 weeks, dude. I go to St. George Island, so I'm all pumped for that. I do that every year to welcome back the daylight. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll always love that video when you do it, and hearing from you when you get back, it's very cool. So with the charter business being as cutthroat as it can be at times, because it's not always the competition of other charters. It's Mother Nature that is really your competition and your skills.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
100%. Yeah, 100%. The few other guys that are doing it in my area, we're all close buddies.
Yep.
We pass off charters to each other when one of us can't do it, things like that. We actually have a chat that we've created where we can pass off charters and things like that. No hostility, bro. None at all.
Yeah, that's the way it should be, and it makes things really easy. It's the same for me in the RV business. But you mentioned something about having to find the other job and chicken. You didn't chicken out, not even a little. You doing the right thing, and
yeah.
I know
I got
it's
a family to think about.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I get it, man. I mean, especially you and I talk all the time. I mean, ever since I got injured, it was like, okay, wow, where's the money? And how are we going to live? So it's always a horrible balance game of, okay, this is going to have to get me here. Do I rob Peter to pay Paul? How do I do this? So,
Yeah.
I totally understand why you did it. Absolutely. And I'm sure everyone does. So,
And I picked so I'm very strategic in my decisions, bro. And with everything in my life. And so again with the bar business, dude, I'm pumping my charters every time I'm there.
Yep.
I got flyers there. I got the servers handing out my flyers.
yeah, free marketing. Run
Everybody that sits at the bar gets a flyer. You know what I mean? And I've booked a lot of trips through that job. Yeah.
that. You just need your YouTube channel playing on loop behind the bar. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is what you're going to be doing on Friday. Come on, let's go. Well, let's ask one good question about the charters here. What's been your best fishing memory from the past year in fishing charters?
Man, I've been asked that quite a few times, and it goes back to my Boy Scout, man. It was a kayak charter where father and son, his son needed a merit badge.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, dude, like just not what I was expecting. We get out there, Brian, dude, and the wind is pumping, bro. We're in the open bay, and I wanted to fish the docks because I was like, this is the best chance for this guy to get a fish. Didn't really know his way around a spinning reel, kind of knew what to do. I'm talking about the kid. And when I say kid, like 13, 14 years old. And was getting tangled up, dude, was wind nodding, was getting lures hooked all up on the docks and all that. And I was like, I just need to get this guy like a catfish, bro.
Yeah, just one for the badge.
Let me hook him up on a hardhead, And so what I did, and I was in the canoe. So when I got two people, I give them the pedal drives and I take my little canoe. So the wind was just beating me to death, dude. I couldn't stay, I could not stay in one spot. So I finally got up next to this kid, man, and I anchored him off. And I let the wind pull him to however it was going to pull, the wind and the current. And so when he stopped, I rigged up a Carolina rig and threw a big old piece of cut mullet on it and threw it over there by the docks and stuck it in his rod holder. I said, just stay here. I was like, don't cast another rod. don't do it. Just stay here. And he pulled in like a 30-inch red drum, bro.
Yeah.
And just to have that memory for him and like to get back to his, I think about him getting back to his like troops and they all got like croaker pitchers, and he's got a 30-pound drum pitcher. I mean, a 30-inch drum pitcher. You know what I mean? I think of that moment. But that was definitely like one of my coolest memories, just because it was so hard too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've also been very busy on the other side. You've got a lot of new partnerships. Let's talk about them.
Yes, and that's another thing that I very strategic with. Working with I call them collaborators. It's just my terminology I use. When I think sponsor, I think like money. And when I think partnerships, I think like I have stock in the business. That's just me. So I collaborate with different companies, promotion for product kind of deals, and I pick what's gonna lower my overhead with the guide business, bro. That's how I target those companies. I've had a handful of people that reach out to me that just doesn't make sense. They're cool companies, they're bigger companies, but like I don't necessarily need a bunch of t-shirts. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't help me in any way, running my business, bro. And that is what is going on with Perdido Blane, is I am running a business, and it's just different channels of marketing, all around that.
I totally understand what you're saying, because it's what we do. I mean, the business part of this, though we're having fun, this is still our work. And we have to find the ways to make that, there's still got to be something coming from it. It's great meeting everyone, and it's great with the likes and that, but then the same one, we still have to put food on the table. And unfortunately, likes hasn't translated over to food yet.
And it is, it is work, and everything I do underneath Perdido Blane is aimed to make money, bro. And I mean, the YouTube channel, all that, and I mean, I hear content creators all the time say, "Hey, I don't do this for money." I do. Going out and spending time and making those videos and editing those videos and paying for the software to edit those videos. I mean, you gotta want to make money. I mean, that is the end goal. Now, YouTube or Google might not pay me a lot of money, but I book a lot of charters by doing those videos. So that's where the money stream comes from. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely understand.
Yeah.
Any companies you want to call out or talk about on here?
I mean, my Fish Bites has been with me from the very beginning. Fish Bites took an interest in me when I had like 0 subscribers, bro. Everything came at once. Basically, I wanted to start a guide business, and I wanted to do a YouTube channel to promote it. So both aspects kind of started at once. And Fish Bites, I talked to Fish Bites. They were interested. They saw that I didn't have anything to offer them, so to speak. I mean, there was no way that I was going to help them in any way at the level I was at. And they took a chance on me, man, and we've been working together ever since, and that relationship has grown into friendships, you know what I mean? And that relationship has opened up other doors that I've collaborated with at this point, you know what I mean? So Fish Bites was like a good door opener for Perdido Blane into other companies, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And then obviously like Lost Key Outdoors, they're my local tackle shop here. They've known me when I went in there and I was like trying to figure out surf fishing, man. Lost Key Outdoors, Clint and Angela, and they've been on my side ever since from the beginning also. And they help me push guides also. So when vacationers come in and they're looking for something to do fishing related, they'll help me push guides. I book a lot of guides through them, so I definitely owe a lot to them for my business also.
They are cool. I love Clint and Angela. They've been supportive of the community, you especially, and just all around. They've done really, really good things throughout the time that I've seen them. So, and I'm glad that they're around and helping you and just being such a good pinnacle with the community. And now it's a perfect time actually for us. So we're going to go ahead and knock out our first bait check, because it has been 20 minutes and you should have checked your bait by now. You absolutely should have, because you got to catch the fishies, man. You got to catch the fishies. It is your first bait check of the episode, so bring that line in, check that bait, make sure it's good to go. If nothing's bit yet, you might want to change your bait, change the style, change something. Get it back out there. Change that zone because they might not be right there. This bait check is being brought to you by Ninja Tackle. Head on over to ninjatackleva.com and take a look at everything that Matt's got brewing out there in Virginia. The new 4-piece, 7-foot travel rod. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. 2 different tips for different types of fishing. Lots of cool things with that. Or maybe you need the 1-piece, 7-foot go-to. I take that everywhere. It doesn't matter where I'm fishing in the surf. That rod's always coming with me. He's got the Dagger series all the way up to 12-foot. Great rods. Just awesome. Need reels, rigs, anything on that side for fishing, maybe terminal tackle? He's got it in there. Or if you're into firearms, got you covered with optics and some other great things for Glock and other associated parts. NinjaTackleVA.com. Get your order in today. So let's transition into the fishing tips, tricks, knowledge, because I will need to steal that power because you got so much good stuff and you've been crushing it. And, well, I got to find a way to beat somebody this year, so we're going to do it that way.
Been doing a lot of scouting, man. I've been hanging out in Pensacola a lot.
Have you really? You crossed the bridge more, huh?
It's hard, Brian. It's hard when I got the water in my backyard. And it's hard to make that commitment to actually like have to drive somewhere to go fish. But this is such cleaner water over there.
That does kill you over there. That water flow out of the bay and right to the west of like, hold on, Perdido? Let me darken this. Let me turn this into mud for you.
And so I run my guides in Orange Beach, Alabama, Perdido, and then Pensacola, you know? And a lot of times I get guides in Pensacola, and I gotta call somebody for a spot, man. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I can run it. I'm like, give me 24 hours to find a spot, you know. And Arrington's been a huge help with that. Saltwater Mercs, he always helps me with a spot. He fishes over there a lot. But anyway, like so over the winter, you know, I decided I'm scouting Pensacola for the next month. And that's what I did, man. And then once I got that drive out of the way a few times, it's not that bad anymore, man. I listen to your podcast, but that's like my demo time.
You know, you can just call me anytime.
When I'm driving to Pensacola from Perdido, I always put on your podcast to catch up.
Well, I appreciate it. Those are fun ones. But yeah, your drive's not horrible. I mean, I have to drive up to your area quite a bit for other work. But yeah, I mean, it is a night and day difference between going Perdido and Pensacola to Navarre. It's amazing how a 2-mile stretch can change so quickly and drastically just
water
based
clarity.
on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I went and fished Perdido this morning, and I was like, this is poo. Yeah, I didn't want to put my lines in it.
But on the same note, you do also still get the clear days. You still get great fishing. You know, it's always just a hit or miss. It's you never know.
Oh yeah, and it's and I'm glad I put in the time over there, so I can steer clients to that area when it is bad over here. You know, like, hey, listen, we got a lot better chance if we leave the house 45 minutes early. You know what I mean?
Definitely understand that. Well, you're talking about this stuff, and it brings us right to the perfect place for the first question. How do you plan your fishing trips?
Wind is the very first thing I look at, man. Obviously, I take that back because I prepare the night before, so I'm going fishing in the morning. First thing I do is look at weather, and I see how cold it's going to be when I wake up. So I plan my clothes first. Nothing will run me off the beach faster than being cold, bro. And I don't care if I have to peel clothes off 30 minutes after I get there. Like, I'm showing up ready. And so very first thing I look at temp. And that's not because of the fishery. That's because of me. And I figure out what clothes I need to prepare the night before. And then I'm looking at wind, dude. Looking at wind. On the beach, surf fishing, we're not hiding from that wind. You can get like on some points or like where the passes are, and you can kind of hide from it sometimes. But really, 95% of the time, we ain't hiding from it, dude. It's not like the kayak. The kayak, I can hide from it. I got different spots that'll block the wind. But when you're out there on the beach, bro, you're out there on the beach. So I'm looking for wind. Very first thing. Tide, I really don't pay that big of attention to, man, especially here where we're at in the Gulf of Mexico. I see a difference with low tide, high tide. As you know, high tide, I just don't have to launch my baits out as far as I would in low tide, but there's still fish there. I'm catching fish up close in low tide settings, I'm catching fish out deep in high tide set. It's just they're running where they're going to run. You just got to find them, I use my 4 rods to locate them. You know how I kind of do the cell phone signal out to the sandbar.
Yeah, man, it works.
That's how I line them up. Yeah, I do the cell phone signal out to the sandbar, figure out which one's hitting, move them in, and start fishing. But basically, man, really all I'm looking at is what kind of clothes I'm putting on when I leave the house in the morning and which way's the wind going. And you'll determine how that day's going to go depending on the wind. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I got a big, stiff north wind, I know it's going to be flat, and I know it might be tough. But I'll tie on like some poppers and things like that too, because you'll be able to see those fish popping, especially in the warmer months when we have those flat conditions. And that's great for clients, dude, to be able to cast a lure out there. And even it's like a ladyfish, man. It's a cool experience to cast the metal from the beach and then be able to pull in a fish like that, not just set rig fishing, you know what I mean? When I see some big wind, some big current, then I make sure I have the right kind of sinker gas spud nets. So usually I'm only carrying 3 ounces with me. But when I see that, like, hey, all right, there's going to be some chop out there today, I will put the 4s and the 5s on my beach cart. That's another thing I look at as my weights and what kind of weights I'm going to need out there, because there's nothing worse to get out there and get set up and your weights ain't holding, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing, pack up and go home and get the right weights, or, you know what I mean? Or you just call it. So I am definitely very cautious of that, of what kind of weights I'm bringing out there.
Nice. Okay. Tracking on that. So, and I love north wind, especially for a popper, because it's going to cast a country mile and you got that tailwind. So it's never a bad day with using those. So now you've talked about doing the trips. Let's talk about finding your spot. What are you looking for to select your spot?
Inconsistencies. That's about the best way I can explain it. Why does that section of water look different from the water next to it? And that's where I'm putting my lines. We talk about cuts and holes and all that, but for a new fisherman, they don't know what we're talking about. I didn't know what y'all were talking about.
Yeah.
When I was watching surf fishing, living in Miami, and trying to learn the game without actually doing the game, I would hear guys like Matt and them, Bama, talk about these cuts and these rips. And I'm like, well, I don't see it. I do not. He could be pointing at it, Brian, on camera, like right there where my finger's at, and I wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
But I noticed inconsistencies. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I look for. That's the best way I can explain it for a new surf fisherman, is why does that section of the water look different? I don't know, but let's put a bait in it and see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it looks different for that reason. It's a rip there, it's a cut there, there's a sandbar there, there's something there going on that might hold fish. So it's gotten a lot easier for me over the years. I can pretty much now roll onto the beach and just kind of give it a quick glance and go, okay, there's my spot, And I'm a mover, man. I'm a mover. And I tell my clients that, like, hey, we're going to give this an hour. And if I've done everything I can in this spot, and when I say, changing baits, leapfrogging rods, all the stuff that we do, and there's still no fish, we're gone. Like, I'm not going to hold them hostage there. You know what I mean? Like in a dead zone. And when I say move, I'm not talking about get back in the truck and move. We just move down the beach and find the next inconsistency. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
And, yeah. So I mean, that's how I find my spots. That's the best way for me to explain it. That looks different. I'm going to fish there.
Perfect. You already mentioned this with the cell phone signal, but I think there's a little bit more that you can say on it too, and I think you wanted to. Where do you like to cast?
Okay, so I'm always running four rods, starting, my east to my west, where we're at in the Panhandle. My furthest east rod, I always go short, and then when I say short, 20 feet off the beach, man. And then I stagger them out from there all the way to the bar. So my last westward rod would be like my long cast. So I'm fishing up close and then basically in our gut, but different zones of the gut. If I see like a real close sandbar with a pool, I call them swimming pools, with a deep pocket in front of it, I'm always putting a bait in there, man. I catch a lot of fish in those swimming pools up close. And when I say up close, like step off the beach and you're in it up close. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are great flounder spots too in the fall, bro. Those swimming pools you see up close, you bump a paddle tail. In those in the fall, man, surf flounder. It's like easy surf flounder. You don't even have to try. Yeah, man. I've become a big fan of those swimming pools.
They are. They hold fish. It's such a good spot. And you talking about the paddle tails, that brings you perfectly into the next question. What type of rigs do you like to use?
I've been throwing friskies for years, man. I work with frisky, but I used frisky before his. And the only reason I can tell you is I like the length of friskies. The way he makes them with the total length of them. I used other rigs in the area, and they just seemed too long for me. I couldn't really figure out the cast on them. And it's just me, man. It's just me. And friskies were always just a great length for me. And they caught fish, and then eventually I started working with frisky. So that's all I use. I will tie my own, like when I want like a naked hook, with no bead, no float, single drop, like 15-pound fluorocarbon. I usually use those for whiting or when the pompano are finicky. I'll strip everything down and just throw some naked line out there. Yeah, that's it, man. Just frisky fins, and he has so many different options. He came out with the rattle rig last year, which was just like, that was like one of those moments when we were like, why didn't I think of that? It was so simple.
Yeah.
It was so simple, and it makes so much sense, I actually have a line of rig with him, Perdido Blane edition rig, which is float on top, 3 beads on bottom. I was fishing that style for a long time before we did that. We started talking about maybe doing a rig, and we bounced around ideas, and I fished that for months before we even decided on it. And it was catching fish, and I was catching majority of the fish on that bottom drop with the 3 beads. So obviously I used that.
Yeah. And it's a good rig. And I've seen too, I mean, he's using the disco ball style beads, and it's just a lot of cool stuff. He dyes a cool rig. I absolutely give him that. With using
Really
with using rigs, let's move into the next one with bait. What types of bait do you like to use? And if I know you do this as well, what other lures do you like to use?
So with with bait, I can tell you how I start every session out there. I get out to the beach, I put my first sand spike in, I strap on easy flea fish bites, and I throw it out while I get myself organized. I've done that for years. I catch a lot of fish on easy flea fish bites. It's the first thing I strap on it's my tester rod is what I call it. Let me throw my tester out. see if thing's active right now. And I'll throw that rod out, and then I'll kind of, go through the bait selection more carefully after that. But really all I'm using out there, Brian, is fish bites, different flavors, different colors, sand fleas, fresh dead shrimp, man. If I'm in the mood, I guess I could say, I will take the effort and go pump some ghost shrimp, but that's rare. It's rare that I want to put in that extra effort. And crab knuckles. So crab knuckles again. It's I got to be in the mood. My parents live down Fort Morgan, and then if I know I'm gonna fish, like let's say down there at the point, I'll ask my dad to throw in the trap, and I'll swing by and grab them on my way out or my way in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But dude, really, fish bites, fresh dead shrimp, and sand fleas is what I'm using 90% of the time.
Stuff works. What about lures?
Yeah. Lures for casting, I've gotten into these ES lures. They just make a bunch of different colors, a bunch of different options. They weigh about an ounce up to 2 ounces. They're fairly inexpensive because you know as well as I do, man, you lose some lures out there with those toothy fish, man. The bluefish, the Spanish, they will destroy your pocketbook, bro.
Yeah, they will.
Those $20 lures, they look great, and you're gonna lose one real quick, and then that's gonna end that for you, you know. But I am using those, dude. I sling those out there with poppers. I'll use those big Halco poppers, throwing in the surf. A big cheap spoon. Even with my spoons, man, I buy the cheap one, 2-ounce cheap spoon with a treble hook on it, and it might have some pink or some green. But I don't spend a lot of money slinging my lures into the Gulf of Mexico because I'm gonna lose them, dude. I've had Spanish bite through 40-pound fluorocarbon like it was nothing, you know.
Yeah.
And just like, oh god, they went $15, you know. It's like the hooks didn't even have rust on them yet, and it's already gone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the ES lures, dude, they work fine. And with fish like that, Brian, man, they're hitting everything. They're hitting everything shiny, you know? So I don't think it makes that big of a difference. You know, a nice silver spoon. Those ES lures, like I said, they come in so many different varieties of colors that you can find something that you want, you know?
Yeah, he makes a great set, that's for sure. And I found out about him through Matt. I think it was same for you, right? Through Matt is who introduced you to him.
I think through Ninja. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So once I got my hands on a couple, man, they fly. And especially I know it's not, you're not supposed to throw a 1-ouncer, but I mean I've thrown a 1-ouncer on that 7-foot go-to rod. That's my favorite to throw any lures with. And then those ESs just they sail. And it's
sail,
fun.
Man. The shape on them is great. And I tell you what about that 7-foot, dude. I saw Brad Warren hook up on a freaking 10-foot gator on that 7-foot. Did you see that video?
I don't think so.
He had a set like a 10-foot gator hooked up on that Ninja 7-foot, and I was just like, it's gonna break. And that's what I thought the video was gonna be about. And it didn't break, bro.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's a good rod. Yeah, so I'd definitely say you can sling a 2-ounce from that, you know.
I wouldn't go 2. I'd be too scared to do a 2. One my butt was puckered. I was like, please don't break. Oh, okay, cool. And I mean, granted,
I'll sling a 2 with it. I'll sling a 2 with it.
It's a great, I mean, I love that rod. Abby uses it when we go out. You know, she wants to throw lures. It's very, very comfortable for her. Yeah, everything about that 7-footer has been perfect for me. It's been a great rod, and I have zero complaints about it. And I've beat it up, and you know, people are like, oh, you've got advertisements through Ninja Tackle. I'm like, yeah, I do. But if you come into my arsenal, you're going to see that I'm using Ninja rods because I like Ninja rods, and
that's
they're
all
solid.
I use, man. That's all I use. I mean, I took a good look at my setup one day a few months ago. I was like, I'm running all in it. Like I hadn't even realized it because I'd been building the arsenal slowly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I took a look at my beach cart one day. I was like, I'm running all Ninja stuff. Maybe I should tell Matt about this. And I mean, some of them are Frisky customs, but they're Frisky uses Ninja Blane.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, man, I run all Ninja stuff, dude, and he's got that new little travel rod now too, man. That thing is awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to get mine finally out there. I've got it put together, and I'm just waiting on this leg to say, hey, let's go do something stupid and get out there and use it. So it's
I
on my
think
list.
I'm gonna take mine on the camping trip because I can get an extra rod out there without taking up a lot of space. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's going to do great in
So
in the forward hull.
yeah, it's gonna be perfect, dude. It's gonna be perfect.
Yep. Well, on the last question here with tips, tricks, and knowledge, let's talk about. Uh, so let's get into the last question here about tips and tricks. No, let's not, Brian, because we're at 42 minutes. You dumbass. All right, we need to edit that. All right, next bait check. Here we go. Pause and. All right, here we go. Dude, good stuff. And yeah, it's going to fit nicely. And I'm excited for your trip. Well, we're moving right along here. Let's get to the last question about some seasonal fishing. But before we do that, I mean, we got to do that one thing because you're still out there fishing, people. It is your second bait check of the episode. Hopefully you've got a bunch of fish and maybe you've already limited out by now, or you're just trying to catch different species and trying new tips and tricks that you've heard about on this show. Either way, it's time to get that bait checked. Bring it in, change it out, get it all right back on out there, and get back to fishing. This bait check is being brought to you by DS Custom Tackle. DS Custom Tackle, you've seen me share about it not too long ago. They got 2 new cool float things coming out. They've got the new flea bag, which is the sand flea looking float that also glows in the dark. They've also got the new fruit basket, different colors on those floats, little clown nose, if you will, too, with the little dots. A couple of them are real fun. If you need terminal tackle, got you covered. If you're into rig making and you want to get into rig supplies, they've got you covered there. Reach on out to DS Custom Tackle and figure out if you can work on any kind of setups for you to continue your rig tying at good price points to help you further your business. DSCustomTackle.com. Get your order in today. So now we're going to talk about the seasonal. And seasonal for us is, it's real. I don't care. I hate to say it like that. God, it sounds bad that I don't care if somebody says something different. But I'm being honest. Yeah, the seasonal thing here is legit and real. Summer and winter.
We get 4 seasons.
Yep. And we have 2 of the best, and by means, fall and spring. Lights out, dynamite fishing from the beach, kill it. But if you live here, the cool thing is you've got summer and winter, which are like, oh, it sucks for beach fishing. Yes, it's not wonderful. You could still do it. However, you can get in a boat or a kayak and have absolute dynamite fishing.
Yes.
Staying within local areas. I mean, we got sheepies right at the bridges all the time, trout, reds on the inshore. Go off there. Go off here in Navarre. We've seen it. I can talk about it because I've mentioned it on our normal Friday Night Live on the Panhandle Fishing Report. We've got tuna. I mean, this place is friggin' phenomenal for fishing. But with
go ahead.
Well, no, you had something there. Go for it.
If you open your horizons, you can fish year round here, man.
Yeah.
And be successful year round. I think a lot of us kind of get stuck in the one style, like, surf fishing. We get stuck in the surf fishing and then the winter and then the rods go in the garage and they don't come out for 3 months. I have a blast in the winter, bro.
Yeah.
And it's, you have to kind of get out of your comfort zone. But yeah, like you were saying, we have 4 seasons and we have year-round fishing here, man. If you expand.
So when it comes to these, especially on beach fishing, let's talk about that with you. What have you noticed when it comes to all 4 seasons when it's playing into the fishing game on the surf fishing side?
So time of day is easy for me because I don't put much thought into it because I personally want to get on and off the beach before the people show up. So I'm like 100% a morning time fisher, man. I will get out there. It's starting to get daylight even sooner and sooner. Like as we're having this conversation, it's starting to get daylight at like 6 o'clock, man.
Yeah.
And so I'm having to get up a little earlier and earlier. And then once we start pushing into the spring break through summer, like I'm at like 6 o'clock, sometimes 5:30 to 9:30 fisherman. So I am rods up, beach card out of there by the time people start showing up. There are spots that I can get to that I will fish the afternoon. They're just a little harder to get to. And in August, it's like the easier the better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but for times of day, I don't pay too much attention to it, man. I really don't. And again, it would just have to do with the tides. Is the high tide in the morning? Is the high tide in the afternoon? And here, I don't even think it matters, bro. I catch fish on both tides. We just have one little hump, and that's it.
Yeah. And one thing I've noticed too for us with bait, people are, because like we're good friends with a lot of people on the East Coast. They talk to us about, Diet Pepsi shrimp or changing up their winter baits, switching from
Yeah.
the standard long lasting fish bites to from the short red packages to the blue packages
Uh-huh.
and back and forth.
Uh-huh.
All these things come into play. But for here, it's the weird mecca because it's like, well, I can use the red bag or the blue bag, no problem in the winter. It's going to do just fine. Or am I going to switch from using shrimp in the summer to winter? No, shrimp's going to bite all the time. So
It's going to bite all the time. And what are you raking up in the sand flea rake, man? That's something always to pay attention to. If I'm digging for sand fleas and I'm pulling up a basket full of coquinas, okay, that tells me something. I'm always with the train of thought that what's easy for me to get in that sand flea rake is easy for those fish to get. So if I'm raking up those huge big sand fleas that a lot of people will throw back or cut in half, my train of thought is like that was easy for me to get. So that's probably what the fish are eating. So I'll throw those out there. Whatever I'm pulling up in that basket, again with the coquina clams, if I'm pulling up a lot of those, I'll stick clam flavored fish bites on the hooks,
yeah,
man, and throw them out there. If I'm getting a lot of crabs stealing my bait, we get in those times of year, dude, where you can't throw a hook out there with a crab getting on it. Use crab as bait. Learned that from Larry Finch. When the crabs are eating your bait, use crab for bait. And so I always kind of keep those things in mind. But year round, yeah, shrimp, fish bites year round. Obviously, the sand fleas are harder to get in the winter. You can blind rake and blind rake and blind rake, and you might get a couple. But if it's hard for me to get, it's hard for the fish to get.
that point right there, I think, is overlooked because if you're
Yeah.
fishing in a spot, and I do this a lot. If I'm walking a spot, yeah, I'm looking at the waves, of course. I'm looking for a rip. I'm looking for a cut. I'm looking for a hole. But I'm also looking directly in front of where the water breaks because I'm looking for the ripples. I'm looking for the coquina clam. I'm looking for the sand flea. Because if you set right up on a colony, that water that's outflowing is going to grab that colony, onesie, twosie, threesie, they're out there, and that's going to get pulled. So I know, all right, I need to put a rod right here. This is a feeding ground.
Yep.
I got to go right there with it. And if you're not getting anything at all, you don't see anything. It's like, okay, now you have to make your success or do the thing that's going to suck that you don't want to do. Keep walking until you find
Gotta
those
move.
pieces. Because
Gotta move.
you can ring the dinner bell, like, hey, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Hello. But
Hmm.
why ring the dinner bell when you've already got, put the field in your advantage? Put that bait in front of you to be like, all right, I'm going to use you to get something else. And it's going to be successful. It has to be. You've got all the right things. So, yeah, it's the bait thing is definitely, I like what you're saying with that too. I really love that.
Yeah. And we get lazy, man. You know how it is.
Oh yeah, the
We
soft
get lazy.
sand.
We
Oh,
yeah,
it
we
hurts.
hit the beach entrance and we're like, that looks like a good spot, which is like right there, I can't believe nobody's there. It's my lucky day, you know? And yeah, we get lazy, man. I'm seriously looking at one of those scouts from Deerfield. You know what I'm talking about? The little two-wheeler cart that Brian started making. I'm thinking
The
about
run and
getting one
gun,
of
the
those.
run and gun series that
Yeah, the
Brian's
run and
making.
gun.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been thinking about it, man. I really have. I gotta pitch that one to the old lady. But another cart. But that thing would be great for stuff like that, man. It's real quick to pack up. It's not heavy. You're just pulling it, man. Pulling it down the beach like a dolly.
Yeah, I got an idea for that I'm working on. I got to talk to I got to talk to Deerfield. I got an idea.
Yeah.
Cuz I'm sick of something a certain way. But let's move into the next topic here. You crushed it, dude, with the fishing tips and knowledge. Thanks so much for that, and you really just nailed it, and I know it helped somebody. Let's talk about your YouTube channel. And
Okay.
a lot of people are like, oh, you YouTuber, or not a lot of people, a small variety. Let's go with that. A small people are like, you YouTubers are always out here doing this, doing that, taking up the beach. It's like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
that's cool. I
Oh
appreciate
yeah.
you. You've got the same rod setup I do, right? And you're right. Okay, cool. I appreciate you. So YouTubers, hey, they're just sharing knowledge. But let's talk about the beginning here for you. What made you want to start a YouTube channel?
For for the promotion for the guides. Um, I am very lucky to have Marty in my life. Marty is a lot smarter than me. If if I didn't have Marty's my wife, by the way, if you didn't, the guys out there that doesn't know, if it wasn't for her, then yeah, none of this would have taken out. So basically, here's my pitch to her. I'm I was in Thunder's room one night. Thunder's my youngest, and playing Legos, watching Bama Beach Bum videos, and he made an announcement that he was gonna quit the guide business. And within like 8 minutes, Brian, I had come up with a plan that involved YouTube videos and marketing for guides and buying a bunch of gear. And I went and pitched it to Marty because I knew that she could figure out how to edit videos. I didn't want nothing to do with it. So like,
Yeah.
listen, we're gonna buy all this camera equipment. I need to buy a bunch more rods and reels. I need a new cart, and I'm gonna start a guide business, and I'm gonna do a YouTube channel, and I need you to edit the video. She's like, okay, baby. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Let's talk about this. Going back to the dangerously supportive that she is, and she edited all my videos for like a year, man. Before I finally got my hands on it to do it. But that was the reason for the YouTube, was to promote the guides. And then as I got into it, even like that first year, like, dude, I didn't even know what my YouTube channel was about, man. I was just catching fish, you know? I had no idea. They were like, what's your YouTube channel about? I'm like, oh, catching fish. And
And it has been.
yeah, and I mean, but so it took me really into my second year to where I really even kind of nailed down what my channel was about and who my target audience was and all that. And it is for the guide business. I mean, it goes right back to day one. That's why I wanted to start it. But I fell into that trap of watching other YouTubers in the area and wanting to do what they were doing. But I wasn't realized that they've been doing this for, 5, 6, 7 years, and they had already built an audience. So they have that luxury to go do whatever they want, and people are going to watch. I needed to add value. And so that's what I missed. Like the first year of YouTube, bro, is practice. That's what I
Yeah.
tell anybody who wants to get into it. How do you YouTube? I was like, you're going to practice for a year. And then after you practice for a year, then you'll start figuring out what your channel's about. And you have to have thick skin, dude. And it floors me, like, and I'll use the word, man, like the amount of hate that comes to us. I mean, you would not believe the messages I get. I'm like, why is this guy so upset that
Yeah.
I'm making fishing videos? Like it's like disturbing at times, man. And just the trash talk around town, and it's the guys in my own backyard.
Yep.
It's the guys in my own backyard. And the way I look at it, man, is a lot of people in life, they lack drive. They have great ideas. These ideas could produce money, but that's all they are, or ideas. They don't take the steps to make that idea a reality. And then there's guys like me that do, and then they hate you for it. I mean, that's the only way I can understand it. That's how I make myself understand it. Like, why do these people dislike me so much? Because I'm making fishing videos, bro. Like, this is fun, you know? Marty made a comment to me the other day. She's like, spring is coming, baby. It's about time for you to get back to work. I'm like, I don't work. Go fishing. It's not work. So, yeah, dude, the whole YouTube game, man, it's definitely for promotion for the guides. The videos are for the customers. Um, for me to show that vacationer that's coming down here once a year, like, hey, you can have fun on vacation. This is what you can do. I'm not always promoting myself. I promote Lost Key Outdoors a lot because a lot of these guys know how to fish, but they don't want to drop $500 on gear. You know, Lost Key Outdoors will rent them surf fishing gear, even carts. You know, so that's the target audience, which leads back to my guide business, man.
Good turn right there. Full 360, and that works out really nicely. And the haters is, oh, I mean, there's nothing you can do. They're always going to be there. I have a really jerk way of thinking about it. And what the hell? I'll share it here because what's the worst that happens? Um, my favorite when it comes to the haters is I've equated it to jealousy. You're firing a
Yeah,
message to me because you're jealous that I did something and I posted about it, and you want to have something to say. Fair. You're welcome to have your
yeah,
opinion, and I respect your opinion, and that's where we're leaving it. So great. Thanks for coming in. And oh, by the way, thanks for the view, bro. I appreciate you.
yeah.
Um,
Thanks for the comment. That helps
exactly.
me.
It does. So, it's the keyboard commando is a whole different episode in itself that I could definitely get into, and I probably shouldn't, so we won't. So what has been one of the biggest lessons learned after running your channel?
Definitely, like, circling back to even figuring out what my channel was about. I wasted a lot of time and a lot of energy really trying to kind of mimic what I was seeing the bigger guys do. And that's where I failed my first year, I believe. So instead of adding any kind of value to my videos, I was just basically fishing. You know, this is like, here's Blane and he's fishing. I'm going to watch that. Like, I'm not big enough for people to be interested in that. You know? So it was the lack of value in my videos, which was my biggest lesson learned. And so now every video, I am definitely like, it's on my mind. Like, I got to go over some sort of tips. I got to add value. I got to give that one little piece of nugget that puts a light bulb in somebody's head, goes, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to try that next time. So that's been my focus with the channel. And like I said, that I believe that was my biggest downfall that first year. I was just basically trying to make fishing porn, you know? That's what I called it. I was like, I even told Phil that, Salt Squatch. He was like, what kind of videos are you making? I was like, I'm making fishing porn, bro. It's just going to be catching fish and music, and it's going to be awesome. And it was awesome to me, but nobody else was interested.
Yeah, it's a weird game when you get into that. That's for sure. But this is actually a perfect one because the next question we're going to talk about sponsorships and pros and cons there. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and knock out our last bait check of the episode because it has been just about an hour. Time flies when you're having fun, people. I tell you. It is your third and final bait check of the episode. You have to be at the limit. You gotta be. I believe in you. Or you're just having a really good day out there and enjoying yourself. And that is all that really matters, is that you had a good day and you enjoyed it. Whether you caught or didn't, you were out on the beach, you were enjoying some water, getting that mentality back in the game. I love it. And I'm glad you did it. This bait check is being brought to you by the Kids Can Fish Foundation. You've heard me talk about them, and I love them. I love what they're doing. KidsCanFish.net is a 501c3 charitable organization that is helping kids get out and fish. Their camps, all these things that they do put together, help raise money for these camps that they're doing. One day, yes, it would be wonderful to go international or throughout the country. Who knows? Maybe it will. Right now, they're out of the Georgia area, St. Simon's Island, and around that little zone. They're putting on great clinics to help these kids get out there and learn how to fish, learn the basics, throw cast nets. So many cool things about the fishing world. One of the things that they always say, and you hear me always repeat it, more tackle boxes, less X boxes. They're out there doing good things. So head on over to kidscanfish.net, take a look at all that, and be ready because the Running of the Bulls tournament sign up is coming available soon, and it is a limited quantity of people that can fish it. So again, kidscanfish.net, head on over there, get your reminders set up, get yourself out there for the tournament. Hopefully we'll see you there. So talking about the pros and cons with sponsors, let's get into it. What are some of the pros and cons of working with sponsors?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Definitely the pros for me is it cuts costs for my business. Um, so circling back to the beginning of this, I am targeting certain companies that's going to help me run my guides. Paddle tails, jig heads, braid, beach carts, bait, weights, all that stuff that you go through a lot of. How can I cut my cost? I can collaborate with certain companies, right? So that's huge for me. That is like just an extremely amount of overhead that I don't have to cover. You know what I'm saying? And I try my best, and I feel like I'm pretty good at promoting those guys. I'm very grateful that they're even willing to work with me. So I make sure I give my due diligence when posting about them, the videos about him. I'll take some extra steps in the editing to actually add their logo into it when I'm talking about them. So I try to give back as much as I'm receiving. Some of the cons, the only one I can really think about is the kind of the new products that come out on the market. There's new products that come out that I'm like, hey, I want to try that. But you're kind of, you have a moral responsibility not to, so to speak, or not to promote it. And you know how the fishing tackle game is, man. I mean, it is two different sports with us. We have fishing, and then we have buying gear and buying tackle as a whole different hobby, bro. And you walk into the tackle shop and there's that new product out and you want to use it, but you're like, yeah, I better not. So there is a con to it. You know what I mean? There is a con, but I've had great relationships with everyone I've worked with, man, and I would say 80% of them have grown into friendships, and that's what I wanted from the beginning.
Yeah, it is kind of cool how that happens. It's so nice. Like, oh, cool. I'm just gonna call and talk to you. The one thing I've told people when it comes to quote unquote sponsorships, advertise, any of this piece where somebody's giving you something, there has to be an ROI. You can take all day and it's great. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting free stuff. This is great. This is the best day ever. But there has to be a tangible give back for that. And
Oh yeah.
I think, and again, I'm talking out of school here. And when I say this, there's a lot of people that think, okay, cool. If I get the sponsorship, I do a couple, name drops here and there. Maybe I tag you on social media and it's all right. I'm good. I've fulfilled my agreement. But I think some people stop when they're getting into the game short of asking, okay, cool. You want to sponsor me? That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. What do you expect? And what are,
Yes.
you got to give back into that. You can't just take, you have to give up. Well, what do you want from me? What are my parameters that I have to do to maintain this sponsorship to help you grow? Because obviously you're sending me this stuff to help you. It's not just a kindness of your heart. Everyone needs something. So you
Yeah,
got to
it's
have that dual
business.
part. Yeah, exactly. And
Uh-huh.
if you're getting into this game, and I'm glad we're talking about this, there has to be something that both parties have to win. And you're seeing it even more so with the fishing tournaments because you're collaborating all these sponsors that are coming in for the
Yes.
tournament and raking all these people together, and some of them are overlapping businesses. It's like, well, yeah, it's we got some pieces here, but it's such a corral game to play. But to me, I mean, those are kind of, that's A and B. It's two different entities here because when your mentality has got to be, I guess with our personal side on the YouTube podcast, all this stuff, we're doing it a certain way. But with a tournament, you've got a whole encompassing of 150, 200 people. And look, hey, this is going to this. That's the ROI is you're going to be
Yes.
able to sell. But yeah, you got to
And
give
there
back.
has and there has been some clashes and there has been some discussions,
Oh yeah.
and you said it perfectly. Like the Perdido Blane and the tournaments are colliding. Um, you are, you work with this company through Perdido Blane, then we should be exclusive at the tournament. Those conversations have happened. And what it's brought me to do, Brian, is brought me to revamp the way I've run these tournaments. And you guys will see that the next one. Um, it's hard, dude. It's hard.
Oh yeah.
And it's caused some arguments, man. It really has. Like some arguments with people I don't want to argue with.
Yeah.
And words have been said, but you said it perfectly. That's exactly what's happening is Perdido Blane as like a content creator, so to speak, and a product promoter, really, that's colliding with the tournament. And the way I look at it, the vision I've had with these tournaments is like I want it to look like NASCAR one day, bro. I want to be every sponsor that you could possibly think of in the surf fishing game is there, flying their flags, and like that is just that's a cool place to be on a Sunday afternoon, man. And so yeah, so revamping things, you will see that next tournament. When I had decided to do it, this tournament was already a go, right? So there was already things that had been done that I couldn't back out at that point. But yeah, I've come up with a game plan.
Not even a little surprised that you have, because you're doing good stuff, man. And the tournament's always a good time. So before people start freaking out, or make a comment here, I want to back up just a hair. One of the things that I think people don't see, and you said it, and I want to hit this: the Perdido Blane and Blane Roberts and the tournament. That's 3 different pieces. And people are like, oh, you're talking about yourself in the third person. Oh, it's the same for me. Finding Demo Surf Fishing podcast is different than Brian Demo.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, well, isn't that the same? No, you separate things because it's business. And, here I'm bringing you entertainment. Here I'm bringing you product. This is just how it goes. It's just a matter of seeing the second, third layer of that piece. And it's a real, it's a pain in the ass because it's a juggling act. But it's a great juggling act once you get so used to it. You're like, there's really no difference in this and this. It's just this line. And once it's explained, it's like, oh, it makes sense.
There, you said it perfectly. There's lines, Perdido Blane is the business. Blane Roberts is the person, and the tournaments are the person. And the tournaments are the tournaments. Those are 3 different entities.
Yeah.
And but it's hard, dude.
Oh yeah, it is. There ain't nothing easy about
hard.
that.
Like you don't want to tarnish relationships that have supported you. You know what I mean? It's a juggling act. And like I said, I've come up with a game plan. So the next tournament, you'll see a different layout, and basically whoever wants to come in can come in, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it, man. I have I'm lucky, and I appreciate you asking me. I get to do the weighing thing, so I get to be there with Jack. Mm-hmm. We're going to be out there doing the weigh and making some good jokes, and there may be some fun jokes and a little bit of fun made, and my luck, I'll probably get to Smalley, but hey, I don't care. So
I definitely knew after the fall tournament that's like I need some help with this, because Clint and I were doing it, and I am so scatterbrained, bro, at those tournaments, and I want to talk to a lot of people. A lot of people want to talk to me, and it's like I'm talking to them, but I'm thinking about what I got to do next. So like I'm not fully engaged in the conversation. I was like, all right, let me enlist some help so I can mingle a bit, because that's what's been lacking, I think, for me personally in those tournaments. I have no time to mingle, man. It's just I get there and it's like work and business, and then it's over and everybody's gone. I'm like, what happened? I didn't get to talk to anybody.
Yep.
So just kind of trying to free my space up a little bit to really thank these sponsors. And that's what I'm talking about, to really give each one of these sponsors the time to go up to them and say, hey, dude, like, you know what I mean? And that's been lacking at my tournaments, and I've recognized it.
It's not an easy game. And I know we're a little off on a tangent here, but we already crushed the YouTube. But we can continue on because, the tournament's going to be a big deal, and we're all going to be there. That couple hours from the weigh-in to finish, dude, that's like a blink of an eye. And you could have a conversation with 100 people, and it's like, okay, I need to talk to that person again because, we didn't get to finish our conversation. And then it's a year before you finally get a chance to actually get in front of them. Like, dude, I'm so sorry we didn't link up. But man, those gatherings are so much fun. And for the digital content creators or rig makers or any of the sponsors out there, we all love talking to the end user and the angler. We do. We love it.
Yeah.
And this year, I think it's going to be even better with we've got bigger ground to go now that we're going to the brewery. You know, Gary's got a great piece of property up there for it. You've got, you've delegated responsibilities that you can do your piece now that you need to and enjoy having the conversations, and people can have that piece with you. Everybody's going to get some time. So I'm excited for the spring Pompano tournament, and I know the fall will follow the exact same thing. I think it's going to be great, dude, and you've done a hell of a job getting it all put together.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot. I'm a busy man this time of year. Since we've been on the phone, bro, I think I've gotten like about 6 email pings, and I know they're tournament registrations.
Yeah, and that just opened, so yeah, you're going to get a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, let's get you into the closing questions, then we'll go ahead and get you out of here because I know the other 2 questions we've actually asked previously. So in the end here, let's talk about a brand new angler, and you've brought this up on your show, actually on your YouTube. You've mentioned this brand new angler. You walking through Lost Key. Hey, you can grab this, and this, and you're out for this dollar amount. So what piece of knowledge would you give to a brand new angler?
Information. All the information is out there. YouTube, Facebook, there is information. You Google search how to whatever you want, and there's going to be a ton. Somebody's done a video on it, man.
Yeah,
So I don't care what it is. How to this, and somebody's done a video on it. Just soak up that knowledge, and that's not going to make you a fisherman, right? But what that's going to do is once you get on the beach, it's going to give you a pretty good idea of what to do. Now the actual physical part of fishing and like casting and knowing where to place your baits and all that comes with time, dude. It comes with time. You start figuring it out. Watch the other guys on the beach. I still do that to this day. I watch the other guys on why is that guy's rod's going off and mine's not? Let me go ask him. And I am not bashful about it. I'm like, hey man, I'm running a guide over here. What are you using for bait? And because and we're in the land of Southern hospitality, bro. I mean, people, especially fishermen love to tell you how they're catching fish, man. Let me show you, and so that's it, man. Soak up all the information you can just through social media. Like I said, the information you're looking for is out there. Talk to your local bait. So if you're coming on vacation to wherever, Pensacola, you find your local bait and tackle, they want you to be successful, man. They want you to be successful so you come back and buy some more bait. They're not going to steer you. They're not going to sell you 2 dozen shrimp and then steer you the wrong way. They want you to come back, man. So they might not give you the local honey hole, but they're going to give you a good access point to go fish where you're probably going to catch a fish, Soak up information, talk to locals, that's it, man.
That works well. Well, the last question of the episode here, and that's always one of my favorites to ask, what's next for you?
Oh, what's next for Perdido Blane? Growth, man. It's constantly growing this thing. Marty and I are constantly bouncing ideas off each other. I mean, constantly. And a lot of them come to light, and a lot of them never make it off the piece of paper. But we are definitely always in the mindset of putting things underneath that umbrella. With her business, too. There's been talks of print shops. There's been talks of apparel, anything that we can do as a couple, as business partners, really is what we are too, to grow our individual businesses or both our businesses for the benefit of the family as a whole, and my ultimate end goal into this thing is to never have to go back to work, Brian. I was saying, I don't want to sit at a desk anymore. What I did in my career was very rewarding. I did get to help a lot of people. It wasn't a job that I hated or anything like that, but I was confined. I had somewhere to be 8 hours a day, and just to be able to kind of make your own schedule here, and day by day figure out what's the best move for the day, and the ball is in your court. I mean, that's priceless, man. That's priceless. So obviously, I want to grow that to where I can continue that.
Dude, you're doing great things and you're continuing. I was going to go ahead and give Madi a little plug anyway when we were in the offside here. But if you guys are needing graphic design or any work like that, it'll be tagged back in the show here. Go take a look at Marty. She's the one that took care of my stuff. She's the one that came up with my emblem. We walked back and forth on this. We got ideas. After the emblem was done, she took care of all the other digital editing pieces that we needed, different formats. On top of that, she found she's like, hey, look, you want a flag? We can get you flags. Yes, I want a Finding Demo flag. We got it done. Blaine's got one.
Everybody wants a flag.
Everybody wants their flag now. It's like, all right, fine. We'll all fine. I'm going to... Eventually, I'm going to have to catch up with Smitty surf fishing because his pole's bigger than mine now, which, as a guy, we have an issue with that.
Yeah, you can't have that. Yeah.
So, but yeah, you guys really take a look at Marty's stuff. Really, really great. She does phenomenal work and great in communication. You just got to, if you want looking at it, really go to her. Great pricing, and I have nothing but great things to say about her and the product that she's done. So thank you for letting me work with your wife on this and for introducing us on how to build this and make it work. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And she's really gotten a leg in the fishing industry, through Perdido Blane, man. I mean, it was easy. I mean, we're, especially as like content creators and stuff, we want stickers, we want flags, we want flyers, we want shirts.
Yeah.
anything with our logo on it, we want it. And she can get you any of that stuff,
That's good, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show again. You really brought it with the knowledge you added from the previous episode. You've been doing a ton of things and growing exponentially and making huge waves here in the community. So thank you for everything you've done. Thanks for coming on the show, man. And I look forward to talking to you next time.
All right, buddy. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an excellent episode with Blane. I hope that it has helped you out. I know it's definitely got a bunch of stuff. I got a good half page of notes here, things to add in that I haven't been doing, and just really making things better. So go follow him, Perdido Blane. You can find him on all social media outlets. Easy to find, easy to follow. Lots of good stuff there. If you're coming to the Spring Pompano Blast, get in there, get your registration done. Don't forget, we've also got the fall one. He's going to be all hanging on that one after this one's done. Give him a little bit of a break to get his brain back in. But lots of cool stuff coming. You've been listening to Finding Demo Surf Fishing. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time. I am out of here.